Hi everyone, I'm Jay and welcome back to my reading slump journey. And for today's video, I will be sharing to you the books that I have read for the first quarter of 2021. Meaning these are the books that I have read from January to April of 2021, and they are not a lot, so I decided to do a wrap up after reading until April because I haven't read that much. So for January, I was able to finish only 2 books. And the first one is Lee Bardugo, Six of Crows. Wait. Yeah. The first one is Six of Crows by Lee Bardugo. So this is the first book in the Six of Crows duology. So I thought, so I'm not really knowledgeable about the Grishaverse, so I thought Six of Crows was a prequel, but in fact it actually happened after the Grishaverse trilogy. So, but good thing I wasn't spoiled to anything that happened in the Shadow and Bone trilogy in this book, because we follow a different set of characters and a different storyline, but somehow it is still connected to what happened on the Fold with Alina. So Six of Crows is about a heist by a group of people that consists of 6 misfits who joined Kaz, their leader, for this certain heist that would eventually change their lives. So I have started reading this December of 2020 and have actually decided to not push it through the end of December, but I want to start my year with Six of Crow, and best decision in my life. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars because it's just great. The world building is easy to understand, which is what I am looking for in reading fantasy novels, because fantasy is my weakness, because I have a hard time understanding the world and the magic system or whatever it is that I need to understand in the fantasy, because I don't read YA fantasy. The only fantasy that I can understand is middle grade, aka Percy Jackson universe. So I'm super happy about reading Six of Crows, and it is now part of my all-time faves. So I'm super happy about this because I love everything about it, especially the characters and how they are with each other, and also how the plot or how the characters show the plot, basta ganon, something like that. And about the heist, there are a lot of twists and turns in the story, and you love each character because they are strong characters individually, and yet you love them also as a group. So yes, I love everything about Six of Crows, and I am so glad that I started my 2021 with a 5-star read. So I was able to finish this on January 16. Yeah. And the next book that I have finished after Six of Crows is the To All the Boys I've Loved Before trilogy by Jenny Han. So I have finished book 1 in January 23, 2021. So let me show you the books. So here are the trilogy, To All the Boys I've Loved Before trilogy, and I was able to finish P.S. I Still Love You, the book 2, on February 26. So it is the only book that I have finished. It is the only book that I have read on February, and I have finished Always and Forever, Laura Jean, on March 5, 2021. So I read these books around 1.5 months, more or less. So what I can say about this, because I have read or I have watched the first 2 books before actually reading the novels. So I have read it during the time where or I have read it during the time where the third movie is about to come out on Netflix, and that was around February 13 or 15, and I have finished the third book on March. Yes. So I didn't watch the third movie after I have actually read the third book. And although the movie and the book are a bit similar to each other, there are still a lot of differences in the plot in the movie and in the book, and I've actually liked the book more, or the story or the plot in the books more, because it has more drama between the characters, and you can see the growth of each character, especially Laura Jean. So what I have noticed about her character in the first book is that she's really childish, wherein she'd, what do you call that, describe things by just adding ish at the end of a word, that so she can make it an adjective, and in the second book I didn't see that trait of hers in the second and the third book. So for me, that is a big growth for a character, because being an NBSB, so she's really trying to explore these new feelings that she's having towards Peter Kavinsky, because she only experiences these emotions towards book characters, so a lot of us can relate. So yeah, I love the plot more on the books, because certain characters were a little different from the books, and I like them more on the books. So overall, I gave all of the books 4 out of 5 stars, because I liked it. It was a very light read. It was a fluffy read, because they were okay, they were cute, and I have learned a lot from the books, not only about first love or flings or stuff like that, but also about family and changes, and how are you going to accept changes, or the changes happening in our lives, even though we haven't foreseen those, because we're not expecting some aspects of our lives to change. So yeah, that's what I loved about books. Each books or discusses the acceptance of different changes that happens in our lives. So yeah. And the next book that I have finished on March, which was on March 16, 2021, was Crooked Kingdom, the second book in the Six of Crows duology. So like the first book, this is also 5 out of 5 stars for me, because I love every single thing about it, because it has the right amount of humor, the right amount of action, the right amount of drama. So yeah, in this book we get to be more personal with the different characters. So we get to know them more, because their backstories are discussed here in Crooked Kingdom, and I just love everything about it. I cannot explain how much I love this book. So yeah, what else can I say about this book? So like the Six of Crows duology, or like the Six of Crows, this is also a part now of my all-time favorite books, because I've learned so much from this book, and I've experienced so much about this book, and I've felt their emotions. I have known them personally, and their backstories, and why they are like they are in the book, and also the twists and turns and the talk about politics in this book. Perfect. So I give this 5 out of 5 stars, because I love everything about it. And see, I have lots of tabs here, so these are all memorable moments for me here that I can look back to whenever I want to reread the series. And right after finishing Crooked Kingdom, I want to reread it again. I want to reread it immediately, but I have to read other books so I can meet my goal, and hopefully I can discover more books like Crooked Kingdom. Yup. And the next book that I have finished after reading Crooked Kingdom was actually the first book in the Grishaverse trilogy, which is Shadow and Bone. So I've actually started reading this because I have to prepare myself because of the release of the Netflix show, which was on April. And good thing I was able to finish this before the Netflix show started, and good thing also that I have read the Six of Crows duology, because the plot or the stories of Six of Crows and Shadow and Bone trilogy was put into the same show. So yeah, all I can say about this is I give it 3 stars. I didn't enjoy it as much as the Six of Crows duology, and I can clearly see, or I really saw here, how Lee Bardugo changed as a writer and how she improved. Although some of her techniques or writing style in Shadow and Bone can still be seen in Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom, but I have actually seen how she has developed as writer from reading just Shadow and Bone, and also the successing duology after the Grishaverse trilogy. So why I gave this 3 out of 5 stars, because I still had like book hangover from the Crooked Kingdom, so I had so much feels for that book, and then actually reading the first one in the trilogy, I was a bit like disappointed in a way, although I shouldn't be, because this came first after, and then the Six of Crows duology. So why did I give this 3 stars? Because for me, it seems like a generic or basic plot in YA fantasy. And what else? Yeah, but I did enjoy it though, because familiar names and familiar terminologies are here, of course, because it started here, but I've read them in the Six of Crows duology. But other than being like a basic or generic YA plot, it is good in a way, because for me it's quite different. I don't know, because I've only read a couple of fantasy, so I'm not sure if I can be trusted in saying it's different. But for me, it's a good kind of fantasy, because there's a good amount of romance in it, and also the magic system is easy to understand, as well as the world building. And I love the world building I love the world of the Grishaverse, because it is so interesting. It kind of reminds me of Avatar, because different kingdoms or different countries has the ability to control certain elements, kind of like here in Shadow and Bone. There are a group of people who controls different, or has a knowledge of the small science called Grisha, are called different kinds of things. Also, can you understand me? I'm sorry if I'm out of words, but all I can say is I like Shadow and Bone, but I like the Six of Crows duology more. But as a first book in a series, it's good. We get to know the characters, we get to know the main character and their abilities, and the romance between the characters. So yeah, the romance I'm not really much of a fan of because of book 2. But yeah, in this book, because I have seen a lot of people shipping the Darkling and Alina, in this book I have not actually quite seen yet why people tend to like the Darkling for Alina here, because yeah, this is the first book and this is where we first meet them. So yeah, but there are still a lot of things to look forward to in the series. So yeah, I gave this 3 out of 5 stars. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it as much as Six of Crows. Yeah. So, and for the last, yeah. For the book that I have read in April, so I decided to read a different genre because I think my brain is has reached its capacity with fantasy already. So I have read a different book, which is my, what do you call that, most anticipated release for 2021, and that is Angie Thomas's Concrete Rose. So this is actually the prequel for The Hate You Give. So this talks about the life of Maverick, which is Star's father in The Hate You Give. So here we see how his life changed when he suddenly became a father at the age of 17. So all I can say about this book is that it's really stressful, especially because I am in the field where teenagers are experiencing what Mav has experienced in this book because of my work. So I can really relate to the parents' frustration about their child, and also about Maverick having to discover what he really wants in life and what he really wants to do, although he has this certain goal in his mind that he had created because of the people around him. So we get to see the different problems that he has encountered during his teenage life, especially when he became a father. So there are a lot of conflicts that happen during Maverick's life, and I have learned a lot from them, especially on how he was willing to be a father to his kid, although he wasn't expecting it. So, and also I like how realistic his family dynamics is. And also Maverick has encountered a different trauma from Star, but almost connected to each other, so we have seen how he had related to the problem of his daughter in The Hate You Give. So this is such a perfect prequel for The Hate You Give, because we see here how Maverick has become the Maverick he is in The Hate You Give, and how he has supported Star, or how he has, how he has parented Star as she was growing up together with her siblings. So I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars because I have learned so much from this book, and I am looking forward to read more of Angie Thomas's books in the future. So yeah, and the last book that I was able to read after Concrete Rose is the last book that I was able to read during April, which I finished during April 4th, 2021, was Pillow Talk by Alisa Cataluna. So this is a poetry book, and I saw this on Twitter, and also Alisa Cataluna was part of the Sunny Book Farm Discord server, so I get to be exposed to her work, and I have purchased her book, and I admire how brave the author was in opening up her mind, or opening up what she or her thoughts were during those hard times when she was writing down the different poems and essays on her book. And there are trigger warnings on the book about if I remember them correctly, trigger warnings about self-harm or suicidal thoughts and obsession. So make sure to check out first the different trigger warnings before reading her book. So it is my first poetry book for the year, or it is my first poetry book that I have read. So I gave it 4 out of 5 stars because it is very short, yet you can learn so much from her experiences, from her words, from her poems. So for the first quarter of the month, I was able to read 8 books. So I was able to read 8 books for the months January to April 2021, and currently it is May. Currently I am reading A Little Life by Hanya Yana Gihara, and I don't know why I read this right now, that I feel like I'm not in the right mental state to read this, but I'm itching to read this because I don't know, I just want to read it during these times. But so those are the books that I was able to read for the first quarter of 2021. I hope you read more than me, but if you don't, I hope you enjoyed the books that you were able to read during those times, because we're in ECQ again still. So stay safe, stay home, read for your own sake, and enjoy, and make sure to hydrate. Drink a lot of water because it gets so hot, and I believe it will get hotter. And also, please do vote for SB19 on the BBMAs. So that's all.